Everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel SG Classes. So today's is the most important session because today we are going to start numerical answer type questions, and also we will see the questions which are multiple answer type questions. So firstly we will finish the multiple answer type question, and then we will start the numerical answer type question. So that's why the session is very important, and everyone please subscribe my channel, also like and comment, so that you will not miss any videos in future also. And please go through my previous videos also, so that you can come to know that how gate architecture and planning questions will come, and what is the pattern of the exam and how to solve these questions. So let's start today's question. So today we will cover questions from 40 to 50. Before 40 we have already done, so please go through it. So let's start with question 41st. Which of the following statements are true with respect to surface paints? So four options are given. Paint is glossy when pigment volume concentration is high. Vickle is the volatile part of the paint. Base of the paint is usually oxides of metal. And fourth, high volatile content is preferred in paints. So here the correct answers are: Vickle is the volatile part of the paint. Yes, it is correct. Base of the paint is usually oxides of metal. Correct. High volatile organic compound content is preferred in paints. No, it is not correct. Paint is glossy when pigment volume concentration is high. No, this is also not correct. So correct answer is B and C. So let's see in detail. So pigment volume concentration, or PVC, is a term used to describe the volume, not weight, of the pigment in a paint film. So flat wall paints can contain high levels of both extender and color pigments and have PVCs ranging from approximately 40 to 80%. The main purpose of the vehicle is to adjust the viscosity of the paint, and it is volatile and does not become part of the paint film. It can also control flow and application properties. Its main function is as a carrier for the non-volatile components. So base of the paint is usually consist of the white lead, red lead, zinc oxide, iron oxide, titanium white, aluminium powder, lithophone. So all these are generally oxides of the metals. So base of the paint is usually oxides of the metal is the correct option, C. And about the last, high levels of VOCs, volatile organic compounds, often has a strong odor. So it does not recommend or preferred in paints to have high VOC. It is always preferred to have low VOC components. It is also recommended by green building guidelines to have low VOCs. The next question is, as per Solid Waste Management Rules 2016, which among the following are duties of waste generators? So among the four, we have to select which are the duties of the waste generators. So first one is segregate and store waste generated in four separate streams, namely combustible, non-combustible, organic and domestic hazardous waste. B. Store construction and demolition waste separately within on premises before disposal. C. All waste generators shall pay off fee for solid waste management. D. Compost, horticulture waste and garden waste separate within on premises. So firstly, I think everyone has know, because there are lots of missions going on the solid waste management. So even if you don't know, we have always seen there are three types of dustbins for the different types of waste. Mostly, uh, so those three are biodegradable, non-biodegradable, and domestic hazardous waste. So it is not for, it is three. It is not combustible, non-combustible, not organic. Yes, domestic hazardous waste, biodegradable, and non-biodegradable. So these are three. So this option is incorrect. Store construction and demolition waste separately within on premises before disposal. Yes, it is correct. Firstly, we have to store all the construction demolition waste within the premises, and then we have to dispose of as per the construction and demolition waste guidelines 2016. All waste generators shall pay a fee for solid waste management. Yes, it is also correct. We have to pay for the disposed. And last, compose horticulture waste and garden waste separately within own premises. No, it is not correct. We have to store horticulture waste and garden waste separately within own premises before disposal. Not we have to compose. So B and C is the correct answer. Let's see in detail. So as per guidelines solid waste management 2016, we have to segregate and store the waste generated in three separate streams which are biodegradable, non-biodegradable and domestic hazardous waste in suitable bins, and hand over segregate waste to authorized waste pickers or waste collectors as per the direction and notification by the local authorities. So first B, it's we have to wrap the waste securely, to use sanitary waste like diapers, sanitary pads in the pouches provided by the manufacturer or brand owners of these products in a suitable wrapping material as instructed by the local authorities. Store separately construction demolition waste in on premises and shall dispose of as per construction and demolition waste guidelines management rules 2016. So we have to firstly store in premises and then we have to dispose of. Then store horticulture waste and garden waste generated from his premises separately in his own premises and then dispose of as per the direction of the local body. Next, no waste generator shall throw, burn or bury the solid waste generated by him on streets, open public places outside his premises or in the drain or water bodies. All waste generators shall pay such user fee for solid waste management as specified by the bylaws of the local bodies. No person shall organize an event or gathering of more than 100 persons at an unlicensed place without intimating the local body at least 3 working days in advance, and such person or the organizer of such event shall ensure segregation of waste at source and handling over the segregation waste collector or agency as specified by the local body. So next one is the every street vendor shall keep suitable containers for storage of waste. Different for the different types of waste, like one for the biodegradable, another for the non-biodegradable, third one for the domestic waste. There should be a segregation of waste at the source, which can be possible by the different types of bins. It can be in different colors, or it can be we can paste stickers on different bins which are for. So next one is every street vendor shall keep suitable container for storage of waste generated during the course of his activity, such as food waste, disposal plates, cups, cans, wrappers, etc., and shall deposit such waste at waste storage depot or container or vehicle at notified by the local body. And the last one is all resident welfare and market association, all gated communities and institutions with more than 5,000 square meter area, and whole hotels and restaurants shall within 1 year from the date of notification they have to make a partnership with the local body ensuring segregation of waste as stored by the generators as prescribed by the rules. So next question is choose the correct option with regard to activated sludge process. So like in the last video we have done for the wastewater treatment, similarly now we have to do for the sewage treatment plant. So option A is the activated sludge process is an aerobic process. The entire settled sludge is sent back to the aeration tank. The entire effluent from the final settling tank is sent back to the aeration tank. In aeration tanks, sewage is aerated and agitated for a few hours. So I hope mostly knew the answer for this question. Yes, activated sludge process is a aerobic process, correct. The entire settled sludge is sent back to the aeration tank. No, it is not possible to send all the settled sludge. Similarly, the entire effluent for the final settling tank is sent back to the aeration tank. No, it is not that much easy to send the entire effluent. And in aeration tank, sewage is aerated and agitated for a few hours. Yes, this is correct. So A and D will be the correct answer. Let's see in the detail. So when this is the final settling tank. So when activated sludge is settled here, it is not possible to send completely to the aeration tank. Similarly, the entire effluent from the final settling tank, it is also not possible to send back to the aeration tank. So now onwards we have to solve the numerical answer type questions, and there is no negative marking in the numerical answer questions. So either your answer is correct or there is no marking. So let's see the question first for the numerical answers. A rectangular hole having dimension of 8 by 14 by 4 meter has total 4 windows of 1.5 by 1 meter each and 2 doors of 1 by 2 meter each. The coefficient of absorption are given below. Considering all windows and open and door closed, considering all windows open and door closed, the reverberation time in seconds is. So coefficient of absorption of wall, floor and ceiling is 0.2 and coefficient of absorption of door and windows is 0.4. So firstly, reverberation time is equal to coefficient of reverberation time is 0.16 multiplied by volume of room divided by total surface absorption. Denoted by, it can be denoted by 0.16 multiplied by V volume divided by A is area of absorption. So let's solve this question. So firstly, V volume of room is equal to 8 meter by 14 meter by 4 meter, which comes to be 448 meter cube. It is volume, so it will be cube. Volume of area of doors is equal to, there are 2 doors and each of 1 by 2, so it will be 4 meter square. It is area, so it is in square. Similarly, area of window is equal to, there are 4 windows of 1.5 by 1, 1.5 into 1 is 1.5 and into 4 is equal to 6 meter square. So now we have calculated the volume and area of doors. Now we have to calculate the area of the wall area. Area of all walls. So walls area will be 8 by 14, which is the room dimension. So in floor, in ceiling, so it can be area of all surfaces, not walls. Area of all surfaces is 8 into 14 into 2. Why we have to multiply by 2? Because one for floor area and one for the ceiling area. Plus, this is one component. then walls 8 by 4 into 2. Similarly 14 by 4 into 2, because there are two walls of 8 by 4 and two walls of 14 by 4. So all these additions, which comes to be 400 meter square. But these are inclusive of doors and windows. So only area of absorbed surface is equal to 400 minus 4, which is from area of doors, and minus 6, which comes to be 390 meter square. This is the absorbed surface area. So now we have to solve reverberation time. Reverberation time is equal to 0.16 multiplied by volume divided by area of absorption. So reverberation time is equal to 0.16, volume is 448. Now absorption area. So there are coefficients given, coefficient for absorption of wall, floor and ceiling. So wall, floor and ceiling absorptions area is 390 and its coefficient is 0.2. Plus 4 meter square for 4 by 4 meter square for into 0.4 plus 6 into 0.4. So this is the case I am explaining you for the normal situation when all the doors and windows are closed. Because when all the doors and windows are closed, then only coefficient of absorption of door and window will considered as given. So when you solve this question, it will be come out at 390 multiply 0.2, it's 78. 4 into 0.4, 1.6 plus 2.4, which shows 0.16 multiplied by 448 divided by 78 plus 1, 78 plus 4, 82, 82, which comes to be, let me solve this, 448 into multiply by 0.16 divided by 82, which comes to be 0.87 seconds. 0.87 seconds. Reverberation time is always in seconds. So this is the case when all doors and windows are closed, but in question windows are open and doors are closed. So in such case, when one surface area is opened, then the coefficient you have to assume it should be doubled. So let me change the color. So this will be the same, this will be the same, this will be the same. 4 meter square is for the doors which are still closed, but for the windows 6 is the surface area, correct, but in place of 0.4 you have to consider 0.8 double, means absorption will be the lesser. So when you multiply all this, the 78 plus 1.6 plus 4.8, which comes to be 0.16 multiplied by 448 divided by 80.8, and the result will be, let me solve, 448 multiplied by 0.16 divided by 80.8, sorry, not 80.8, it's 78 plus 4, 82.8, 82.8, 83.8 and 80. It comes to be 84.4, 84.4, and the result will be 448 multiplied by 0.16 divided by 84.8, 84.5 seconds, 84.5 seconds. So this will be the correct answer. And as per gate, answer will be the in between 0.82 to 0.86 seconds. At the top right corner, you can see the solution provided by the gate. Next question is, if surface conductance of external surface is 20 watt per meter square degree Celsius, absorption of the surface is 0.66 and U value of the wall is 1.2 watt per meter square degree Celsius, the solar gain factor of the wall is dash. So we have to find the solar gain factor. So firstly we have to know the relation Q is equal to U into solar gain factor multiplied by the absorption. So firstly here we have to find the solar gain factor, and you have to remember for U value you have to check whether resistance is given or conductance is given. U is inversely proportional to conductance and directly proportional to resistance. So this relation you have to always remember. So here Q is equal to 1 by C, which is conductance is given, multiplied by SGF, solar gain factor, and absorption. So Q into C divided by A will be the solar gain factor. So Q is the heat generated for wall. C is the surface conductance. A is the absorption surface, absorbance. So solar gain factor will be 1.2, Q is given, C surface conductance 0.66 divided by surface conductance for external surface, which is 20. So when you solve this, answer would be 0.0396. So let's check for the gate answers. 0.03 to 0.05. So when you round off 0.039, it would be 0.04. So let's move to the next question. The initial cost of a property is 4 lakh and its future life is 30 years. Considering the scrap value as 10% of the initial cost and rate of interest as 5%, the sinking fund deposit at the end of year for the property is, we have to find the sinking fund. So for sinking fund you have to remember one formula. R is equal to value of the property at 0 initial level minus value of the property at scrap value multiply by interest rate divided by 1 plus interest rate raised to power n would be the years, minus 1. So given is V is given 4 lakh. So if future life is 30 years, so n is 30 years. Considering the scrap value at 10% of initial cost, so Vs would be 4 lakh initial cost into 10%, which is 40,000. So V minus Vs, which is depreciation, is equal to 3,60,000. 4 lakh minus 40,000 comes to 3,60,000. Interest rate is also given, which is 5%. The rate of interest is 5%. So everything is there. Now let's solve. P minus Vs is equal to 3,60,000 multiply by 0.05 divided by 1 plus 0.05 raised to power 30 minus 1. So 3,60,000 0.05 divided by 1.05 raised to power 30 minus 1. So 3,60,000. When you solve the complete figure, 0.05 divided by 1.05 is 4.3219. 4.3219 minus 1 is equal to 3,60,000, and after it solve it will be 0.0150, and it comes to be 5418.52. So answer will be the 5,418.52 paisa. So let's see the gate answers. Gate answers would be 5,405 to 5,422. So for remember, this is the gate formula given. Sinking fund formula given. So I have explained you. I hope now you will remember this. Let's move to the next question. So the reading in the staff stationed at P measured by a dumpy level is 3.5 meter. The dumpy level is stationed at Q. The reference level RL at point P is 96.5 meter, and the height of the dumpy level is 1.25 meter. The reference level at point Q we have to find. So firstly, this is 3.5 meter given. This is 1.2 meter. So we have to find this reference level. This reference level is also given. Firstly, when reference level is 96.5 meter and we have station at P which is 3.5 meter above, so this level is same throughout. So this level would be 96.5 plus 3.5, which comes to be 100 meter. So level at this point, this is 100 meter. So when you subtract 100 minus 3.5, it comes to be 96.5 meter, and height we always know 1.2 meter. So when you subtract 100 minus 1.2, it comes to be 98.8 meter. So this is the easiest question and time saving questions, and also you will get marks as much as possible. So if you want to make in equation, 96.5 plus 3.5 is equal to x plus 1.2 meter. So 100 is equal to x plus 1.2. X would be the 98.8. So gate answer is also 98.75. Sorry, I have considered 1.2. It's 1.25, which comes to be, let's again solve 96.5 plus 3.5 is equal to x plus 1.25. So 100 is equal to x plus 1.25. So x would be the 100 minus 1.25, which comes to be 98.75 meter. So this is the correct answer. Now, a circular cricket field of 180-meter diameter is illuminated by 4 floodlight towers. The floodlight towers are equally spaced along the perimeter of the field. The height of the floodlight tower is 48 meter. Using inverse square law, the illumination level at the center of the field is found as 750 lux. Each tower is consisting of 50 lamps, and the tower of each lamp is 700 watt. The efficiency of lamp is dash lumens per watt. So firstly, if this is a, let me explain by showing you figure. So if this is a cricket field and 4 floodlight stations are these, and at center lux level is 750 lux. Let me show its elevation also. So when flood, this is a tower which is 48 meter given, and rays are coming at center. Similarly from this level, rays are coming at this level. This is also 48, and a cricket field of 180 diameter. So when 180 is there, so radius will be the 90, 90. It is also 90. It is also 90. Using the Pythagoras theorem, h square is equal to p square plus b square, which comes to be, hypotenuse here comes to be 102 meter square. So we have to use formula here. Lux is equal to I naught cos theta divided by d square. So I naught, and firstly each station is consisting of 50 lamps of 700 watt each. So there are 4 stations. So I with lux 750 is equal to, so there are 4 stations of I naught means the number of stations multiplied by the towers consisting of each lamp. So 4 into my 50 into 750, this would be the I naught divided by d square is there, so 102 square is there, multiplied by cos theta. So as per cos theta would be base by hypotenuse. So when theta is this, so base would be the 48, hypotenuse is 102. So we have to find the efficiency of each lamp. So number of lamps are 50, this one is 700, sorry. So A into my 50 into 700, so 750 multiplied by 102 cube, 2 are there and 1 is there, divided by 4 into my 48 into my 50 into my 700 is equal to A. So when you solve the A comes out to be 118.4384. This comes to be candela per watt, and we know 1 CD is equal to 4 pi lumens. As we know, we have to find the answer is lumens per watt, so A would be the 118.4384 multiplied by 4 pi, which comes to be 1488 lumens per watt. So this is the correct answer. So there are two answers provided by the gate, which is 117 to 119, which is in candle per watt, which is also correct, and another answer is 1488 lumens per watt, so that is also corrected by the gate officials. Let's see the next question. A building is constructed on a plot measuring 70 by 40 meter. The utilized FAR of the building is 1.5 meter. An energy audit team found that the average monthly electricity bill of the building is rupees 2,94,000. The unit cost of the electricity is rupees 7. The building energy index is dash. So we have to find the building energy index in kilowatt hour per meter square per year. So plot area is equal to 70 by 40 meter, which is 2800 meter square. FAR is equal to 1.5, which is 2800 multiplied by 1.5 is equal to 4200 meter square. Then electricity bill is equal to 2,94,000 rupees. Unit rate is equal to 7 rupees. So total unit consumed कितनी यूनिट हमने कंज्यूम की इज टोटल बिल, विच इज टोटल बिल डिवाइडेड बाय रुपीस पर यूनिट is equal to 2,94,000 divided by 7. It comes to be 42,000 units. So 42,000 units per month because this is average monthly electricity bill, so units per month, and we have to find the answer in year. So you have to consider this very brilliantly. So consumption per meter square, how much consumption per meter square is there? So you have to find the consumed unit divided by plot area by total area, sorry, not plot area, it's total area, which is 42,000 divided by 4200, which comes to be 10 kilowatt per hour per meter square, kilowatt per hour per meter square per month. Till now we have considered per month, so let me write here is equal to 10 kilowatt per hour per meter square per month. So for year what we have to do, we have to multiply by 12. So 10 multiplied by 12 is equal to 120. So answer would be the 120 kilowatt per hour per meter square per year. So answer would be 120. I hope everyone has understood this. Let's solve the last question of today's video. A simply supported steel beam made of an I section has a span of 8 meter. The beam is carrying a uniformly distributed load of 15 kN per meter. The overall depth of the beam is 450 mm. The moment of inertia of the beam section is 18,000 cm for the maximum bending stress in the beam will be. So this is a structural question given. Let's solve this. So one beam is there, span is 8 meter, it has uniformly distributed load, UDL would be 15 kilonewton per meter. So we have to firstly find out the bending moment. MP is equal to WL square by 8 for the UDL, uniformly distributed load. So U is 15 kilonewton per meter. L is 8 square divided by 8. So 15 into 8, it's come to be 120 kilonewton per meter, kilonewton meter, not per meter. So now we have to find the maximum bending stress. Bending stress denoted by sigma B, and we have to find the maximum. So sigma B would be the MB multiplied by Y divided by moment of inertia. What is Y here? For I section, this is the central axis. So distance, maximum distance from central axis is equal to Y. It can be in upward, it can be in downward, it can be in any direction, but distance from the central axis is Y, and we have given the beam is 450 mm overall depth. So if this is 450, so Y would be 225. So MB is equal to 120. We have find in kilonewton meter, but answer is in Newton per mm. So firstly we will convert the kilonewton into Newton. We have to multiply by 1000. Meter into mm, it is also 1000. Correct. This is the MB divided by, let's firstly see Y. Y is 225. I is 18,000, but it is in centimeter 4. So for converting centimeter into 4, 1 centimeter is equal to 10 mm. So we have to multiply by 4 times tens, because power is in 4, and 225. So this is the correct. So these three cancel these three cancel these three, this one, 6 2 6 3. So final outcome will be 450 divided by 3. So 150 Newton per mm square. 150 Newton per mm square would be the correct answer. So remaining question we will solve in the next video. I hope everyone has liked. Please like, comment and subscribe my YouTube channel. Thank you.